Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 4 of the anime series Kantai Collection Kankole. And I'm going to tell you from right out of the gate, I was almost ready to chuck this episode in the bin. The first half and 3/4 and up until the very end, because I was expecting an immediate resolution to pick up with the missing Kisaragi as it's impactful on Mutsuki. We basically are seeing Fubuki and Yudachi are very much concerned about the fact that she's still going out to that pier. Days have passed. We gather through dialogue. We basically see in the classroom everyone's morale has taken a 1-2 punch to the chops because of this. So it's not that nothing's been said about it. It's not that people are hiding it. But there was still some question as to, does Mutsuki know? Has she been made aware of what the scenario is? Is she in denial? What exactly is going on with that? And I like how they did finally wrap it up in a nice, sort of clean bow toward the end with the relationship between Fubuki and Mutsuki, respectively. But I mean, just the fact that they took a really sort of turn for the absurd in this particular episode. I mean, introducing the Kongo sisters, a special mission, basically passed down by the Admiralty through Nagato, whereby, the Kongo sisters have to go because they are speedier than some of the other ships, and Fubuki, as well as, Shimakaze, are going to be sent out along with the Kongo sisters for this mission of an abyssal attack. And we basically see that Shimakaze is kind of like lazy and she likes to go into hiding. She falls asleep everywhere. And so a large chunk of this episode is just Fubuki and, the Kongo sisters trying to lure out Shimakaze in all these weird off-the-wall ways, like, leaving picture books of the Kongo sisters in salacious surroundings and things like that to try to lure her out, and trying to get a couple of girls to get all romantic with each other. One of the Kongo sisters gets really up in their faces, and it's just all kinds of odd. And then, of course, the chief Kongo sister, Kongo herself, continually is calling them by the wrong names, although I thought it was absolutely hilarious that she's calling Fubuki just Buki, or the sub spell it Bucky. I'm thinking back to like Captain America, It's just really interesting how this whole episode took a lighthearted but absurd twist. Even down to the fact that the Kongo sisters are putting on a performance, and they have, Fubuki standing there playing an instrument, and then you have Naga just show up out of nowhere because she is the idol of this whole group and everything, and trying to induce this like pop song battle or something like that, like epic rap battles, So essentially, finally, what ends up bringing Shimakaze out of hiding, all told, is Kongo likes to have tea, and she wants to have tea in the afternoon, and it very much touched base in my mind the absurdity in this episode with Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter and the Tea Party. It was like perfectly fitting in that aesthetic, But this is finally where the tides turn, no pun intended, for the battle with the Abyssals, and it was an interesting battle segment. I think the most captivating of which was the fact that Shimakaze pulled out her Rensohu, but we don't actually get to see them. We don't actually focus on them because the focus is on Fubuki, and she's actually holding her own relatively well, but she ends up getting, hit, or she gets caught in her nervousness, and she starts to sink a little bit, and Kongo, the chief Kongo sister, has to sort of intervene and hug her and save her. And you get the idea that this is where the fear, this is where the sorrow, facing the impact of the loss of Kisaragi has finally come to the fore for Fubuki, so that when this battle is all said and done, when they've saved the day and, fended off the Abyssals, destroyed them, when they return home, basically we are there once again seeing Mutsuki on the edge of this pier, still going down there, still, spending all of her time waiting for Kisaragi to make her happy upon her homecoming that she's just utmost hopeful will happen. And when she's about to leave, here is Fubuki, and she's all, worse for the wear. Her clothes are torn, she's seen rough tides and everything like that. And you have her embrace Mutsuki, who is finally confronting. She has been. This is where the answer comes. She's been in denial. She knows Kisaragi's never coming home, but she could not deal with that. She could not, process that effectively. And, you know, she's trying to get away from Fubuki. She's straining against Fubuki. Fubuki will not let her go. She's bear hugging her to let it sink in, to push that into her mind. We have to accept it. We have to, you know, as the sisters we are, we have to accept this and move on. We're there for each other. We have to continue to live and see each new horizon. But Kisaragi's not coming back. And so in that final moment, you know, it did still resonate with me a little bit. That same emotional, you know, essence that I got in the previous episode, seeing the loss that would potentially hit Mutsuki and Fubuki and, you know, their fellow classmates. And so while it did not resonate as much as I hoped it would, I mean, they really still emphasized the absurdity and the humor and the lightheartedness in this episode. It was still there. It was still present. You kind of had to abide the entirety of the hilarity that was ensuing before you finally got the closure that was very much necessitated. And I don't know if this is an absolutely just, you know, criminal move story-wise, or if it's genius, because, I mean, it's so very much palpably, you know, in step with real life. I mean, you know, you accrue a loss, whether that's a job loss or someone in your family dies or, you know, a friend of yours passes away, and you don't immediately necessarily process that. There's grief, there's denial, there's just completely throwing yourself into things that, you know, will take your, you know, perspective away from having to accept the loss, the sorrow, and the sadness, and all this stuff, the grieving. And then you'll eventually have it affect you. When I lost my dad, it took a year of sidelining, going to school, and then dropping out of school, and getting my GED, and all these things, before finally I had almost a nervous breakdown a year later, you know, about 3-4 months after the fact. And so it does harken to real life, but I don't know if this was clever plotting or if it was just sort of, you know, dropping the ball a little bit. I mean, I'll leave that to everyone else to decide. I'll be probably trying to decide for myself, going back over this episode and such in my mind, you know, how it impacted me. I mean, I liked the lighthearted stuff, but it did get a little too absurd, and it was really kind of irking me because they weren't playing on the emotions that I were hoping they would, until the very, very end. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 4 of Can Cole. If you've seen it, I highly recommend you check out the series. I know it has a strong fan base coming from the games and everything like that, and I have been just loving the dialogue back and forth in the comments with you guys who are more familiar with it than I am, between the real-world history and the sort of character history in the games and everything. And, yeah, I look forward to more conversations in the future, and I hope this video finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.